Hi everybody, welcome to episode 31 of Satellite 664. I'm one of your co-hosts, Kaz Tagyan, and today I'm joined by Mr. Paul Lindop as always. And when the other gentleman that you see on the screen is here, you know it's a collecting episode. You know it's a episode all about collectors. Fresh from his first Iron Maiden show in almost 3 years, Mr. Rasmus Stansborg from Copenhagen, Denmark. Good day to you.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here, mate, again. Good to have you here again. In fact, on one of the earlier episodes that you were on with us, way back in 2020, I remember you said, we were all feeling a bit down in the dumps, a bit gloomy about what was going on in the world. And I vividly remember you actually said, I promise you, I guarantee you, you will see Iron Maiden again. And you were right. You know, lots of people thought we'd never see another tour again, and yet here we are. What is it, 5-6 shows into the tour, and it's going great. So, how was it? I mean, you've just not back, 24, 48 hours from Riga. How was it?
Well, of course, it's Maiden, and they always deliver. It was awesome. It was different from every other time I've seen Iron Maiden. Because normally when you go to a show with Iron Maiden, they will start with a punch in the face. They always have like an opening track and go straight ahead, and you are, wow, now we are live. This time they're starting off with a new track, Seducer, and it's so low key. It looks like, oh, the guys step on stage, let's jam. And you go a little bit like, what? Because you cannot go totally insane to Senjutsu and then start up. Yeah. But it works. At some point it works. They still play 2 hours, and they don't look their age. They're on fire, and it works really well.
Yeah, a friend told me the other week that he'd spoken to Dave 2 shows in, and Dave actually said the band is just so re-energised at the moment of getting back together, actually on the road playing. He said it's unbelievable how energised the band are now, having not played in nearly 3 years. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. And Paul, you're seeing them next week. In fact,
yes, download.
This time next week you're going to be in download. So we've got Raz who's just come back. You're seeing them next week, and hopefully, all being well, I'll see them in about 6 weeks. So it's good to have them back. It's really good to have them back, especially with what we've all endured the last 2 years. It just hasn't been. It's been pretty bleak, hasn't it? So just to look online and see videos and photos and things like that. It's great. Raz, were you surprised by the walk-on Eddie, the Senjutsu walk-on Eddie at the start?
Very much, because of course I have been watching on YouTube also, so I knew he would come. But the way he just walks in and just walks a little bit around stage, he's not that aggressive like later on when the true Eddie comes on. He just walks a little, and people are like, what? Eddie already? But he looks really, really good. It's a really nice, I don't know who is walking inside Eddie now, but he does a good job.
Mm.
And on that note, of course, we have to say rest in peace to Ashley, that we just heard today had passed away from cancer, sadly.
Yeah.
So very sad.
Yeah. Condolences.
Nice guy. Very nice guy.
Our condolences to his family. It's the whole lot of things have changed. Like you said, the very slow-paced introduction and the walk on Eddie. It's sort of, I don't think any of us really sort of predicted that or saw that coming, because every single tour we've been used to this blistering opening, and yet we had a very. It's not even mid-tempo. It's actually a slow tempo.
Yes.
And I saw on the Zagreb video, the guys just sort of walked on stage rather than...
Exactly. They're standing there and you're like, what? start the show, and then it just came along, and but people are so excited. You know how it is when Doctor comes on. It's like that song takes forever. You start singing along to Doctor, and you're like, can there be another verse? Come on, start the show. But yeah.
I was gonna say, when the lights went down and Doctor came on, did your blood pressure go up a little bit? Did your heart rate go up a little bit?
Yeah, I was not proud to say it, but maybe a little tear in my eye, because, well, it has been a long time to get those goosebumps when the lights go off. Yeah,
but that's understandable. That's very understandable. It really is. And dare I say, I think you're not alone. I think a lot of people would feel that way. A lot of people would feel that way. It's natural, because we love this band so much and we've missed them for so long, and now here they are.
But still amazing that after so many years and so many shows that they can still put that feeling inside you. I think that's why I keep on doing this. I do, and traveling around the world to see them again and again, because they can do that to you, right? So it's fantastic.
Dare I say they're one of the only bands out there that can do that, and so we'll look forward to. Great, fantastic. All right, now you may have noticed an ex-roadie of the band is not on the screen with us tonight. So Loopy, I should have said at the start, Loopy couldn't make it today. He's quite busy with a lot of stuff, aviation stuff, and translating his books. And he said he'll come back. Join us for the next one. So look, we in episode 30 we had Keith Wilford on. We spoke about the 1992-93 Fear of the Dark era. Much maligned era, as we've said, but I think a fascinating era of the band, simply because it was a transition phase with Bruce leaving and Adrian already having left. So, as we like to do, we always like to round up these eras and just talk about the fun stuff, the collecting, and the just geek out. Geek out. No serious stuff on this show. So, we were going to have Matthew Ward on with us as well, but unfortunately he couldn't make it at the last minute. So he's commissioned me with a task of presenting some of the rarer tour shirts on the from this era.
Me being unprepared.
You're always prepared.
I know. I don't know what's happened. My passes. I've got my real life one pass. I've got my Pinewood Raising Hell pass. I've left them in their safekeeping place and forgot to get them out.
Where are they?
About 20 yards from where I'm sitting.
Okay, well you can grab them if you like. So
you're asking to run out to get some passes.
I've got them, but I can get them later.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so the reason why we like to talk about tour shirts on this show, is because they often tell the story of the era of the band, and there's not a whole lot of richness as far as the tour shirts or the shirts that they released in 92-93, but the ones they released are quite interesting. Now, Paul, Raz, I don't know if you were at Norwich Oval, but the Nodding Donkeys. Yeah. Paul, tell us about the Nodding. Raz, were you at at Norwich for the?
I was not there, sadly.
Okay.
No.
Paul, tell us.
It was a time when Chris Lang, many Maiden fans from the 80s and early 90s will remember Chris. He was one of the original Chapel Heath crew that used to be credited on the albums in the 80s. He worked for Maiden as well, but he jointly ran that pub with a friend, and that was why Maiden played there as a secret gig. I got word of that from Chris and also from Keith, so that's why I went to it. Small little pub, great little venue to see the band in. I've seen them there twice. I saw them there in '98 as well on Angel and the Gamblers, but it was small, intimate warm-up show. Cracking, really, loud, hot, sweaty, as you want it to be, intimate Maiden gig. Managed to get a couple of t-shirts. I only got one still. Being an idiot, I gave one away to somebody. But yeah, no, really, really good show. Good warm up. Good practice for the guys when they went out on tour. Not much more I can really say, actually.
Paul,
it was rammed in there.
Paul, in 1988, the Charlotte and the Harlots gig was sort of advertised.
That was 88, yes.
Yeah, that was advertised.
That was advertised
through the fan
I
club.
remember seeing that advertised. Yeah, and in Kerrang it was advertised as well.
Was the Nodding Donkeys advertised in the fan club?
Not that I can remember, but no, not in the fan club, and I don't think it was advertised in Kerrang or any of the music papers around then.
Do you remember how big the venue was? How many could it fill?
No, not. I'm talking probably 150, 200 at the most, and that would be it. That would be acting like sardines. Yeah.
Cool. Wow.
I do remember there were some local papers that advertised that the band would be playing or had played there. I'd have to double check on that. I have seen the newspaper article. Whether that came out before they played, I don't know. But yeah, I obviously found out through word of mouth from the guys. So
interesting. The shirt says that was the only UK gig, when in actual fact we Donington followed a few months later.
I think that's more to do with the name. The Nodding Donkeys only UK gig.
Ah, yes, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. The next shirt we'll show is a really interesting one. It's meant to be the Canada event shirt. Now we know that this was sold at the gigs, so we definitely know it was sold at the Toronto show. Now, the shirts in this era have some errors, have some quite sloppy mistakes. Now clearly not intentional, but really sloppy mistakes. I don't know who was responsible for that, but it's one of a series of shirts that had mistakes. So this one has the New York Statue of Liberty, sort of imagery or the artwork, and the back
strangled. Yeah,
that's right. And the back has the Canadian dates. So one wonders whether the intention was to put the Statue of Liberty artwork with the Ritz secret band did, the warm-up gig that the band did in New York City at the Ritz, and to have the album cover artwork with the Canada dates. So I don't know how somebody in merchandising would make errors like that. I mean, even some of the tour shirts with the dates on the back, the dates are wrong. The dates are in the wrong order, or some venues aren't even there. It's probably the only tour that I've noticed the marketing department slip up a little bit. Again, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that.
Don't know, because in them days it was Bravado, wasn't it? Who are now Global Merch. They've done Maiden shirts, haven't they, since the early 80s, haven't they? So obviously it was an oversight and an error from somebody somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I can't think of what would have they had as a cover anyway for Canada, because they did the 1990-91 was Eddie and the CN Tower at Toronto, wasn't it?
Yeah, it would have been.
Prayer. So what would they have had for 92, 93, or 92 is it? Yeah.
I spoke to Matt about this. No, it was 92. So we think because the back print of the Canada shirt had the moon and the dates listed, or the cities listed, that was in keeping with the other similar shirts that they released that year. So the front would have simply been the Fear of the Dark cover.
The rounds.
That's right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Because you look at the rest of the shirts that had the moon design with the cities listed, almost invariably the front print was always the Fear of the Dark front cover artwork. So again, it's probably a mix-up. Interesting because no other era of the band had this degree of mistakes on their tour shirts. I mean, I saw the band in October that year, but the shirt says November 22 or something. So it was, it was ridiculous. On the last episode, the one story we didn't get to tell with Keith was the band's trip to South America and to Chile, and it's quite widely documented the controversy that followed the band over there. They weren't allowed to play in Chile. There was a lot of controversy, namely because the Catholic Church was, sort of leveled accusations at the band that they were Satanists and the music was satanic. So the shirt that, and this is where we love Maiden's sense of humour, the shirt that was given to crew members had this, where it says, Eddie ate my chili. Okay, so that was really kind of like a tongue-in-cheek type thing that the band did. Do you remember that whole sort of era where there was that controversy that still followed them? Were you surprised by the fact that they had that controversy still 10 years on from...
Surprised, yeah. Instead of people actually talking to the band and management first, they just made their own decision, didn't they? That these guys were this and we don't want them here. The band are about as satanic as me and you, aren't they, really? But it's people's prejudice against what they perceive them to be. That's the way I see it, yeah.
Sometimes you see the church, they're really good at promoting stuff. They're strong on that field, and we saw it with Marilyn Manson in recent years in the US, right, where he was banned for playing in certain states, and he just took it as good promotion. So, but if the church says something, a lot of people will listen, and if some guy who has a lot of people listening to him, well, he can really put a stake in the wheel behind me. So.
I mean, we're all the same age. We sort of grew up in the same era. I don't know about you guys, but when I was at school, it was very much the whole, and it was a big media beat up about heavy metal being, satanic music and that kind of stuff. I mean, it gave me the shits to no end because you just knew it was wrong, and I was constantly, forever defending the band against people. Raz, did you have those? Was it like that in Denmark, or was it a lot less relaxed?
It's a lot relaxed. I think the church is not very strong in Denmark. The people don't really believe that much in religion here.
Yeah.
They like all the traditional stuff around the religion, like Christmas and getting married and have their kids baptized and all that. But it's more like it's some cozy traditions. Not that they really believe they are gods who run the whole scene. So I don't think it has been a problem in Denmark. Like Denmark is a very open country. We were some of the first countries to legalize porn and all that. So it has not been a big problem here in Denmark with heavy metal bands. They were really...
I think the same UK, but it was taken more tongue-in-cheek, really. I think as outsiders, it was more... To me, in them days, it was more the Americans that did it.
Yeah, well, it was.
And looking at them and thinking, what the hell are you doing? It was sort of, I can't actually believe you're actually falling for what somebody's told you about these. And it wasn't just Maiden, was it? It was Ozzy Osbourne and bands, Sabbath and people like that. Who were, they were buying the records and then burning them. You're still putting money in the pockets of the artist.
So you didn't have
to me it was just silly. It was laughable.
So you didn't have people outside of Wembley Arena with signs and placards protesting?
No, never saw any of that. Even I went from Hammersmith to Wembley to Earl's Court to the O2, and even back in the 80s at places like, at Hammersmith, you never saw any of that at all. It was just, I think it was just something that was, the Americans got hold of it, and it was big news over there, wasn't it? They had that.
But they still do that at some gigs in the US, where when you're walking to the venue and there would be people like, "You're going to hell," and you're like, "Okay, see you there."
I remember Ozzy Osbourne saying once that he had a load of protesters outside one of his shows, so he made his own placard up saying "Have a nice day," and walked in between everybody, and nobody knew who he was. It's, if you're gonna,
was it the guy from? I can't remember the name. It'll come to me in a bit. Sorry.
Yeah, look, I think it was. It was the same here as well. When we saw them live. Scone, yes.
Got it. Foo Fighters. The singer. There was a protest outside his venue, and he actually joined. He dressed up and joined the protesters against his own gig. Oh, that was hilarious.
I know. Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, look, back in those days, my response to a lot of those people were listen to the music and then come and talk to me. Okay, because if you examine Maiden's catalogue, there are probably more songs that are, shall we say, favourable towards Christianity than not. You go through the catalogue, it's not hard to find. But I think people sort of judge with their eyes. They just judge superficially and jump to conclusions. And some of these sensationalist media reports don't really help. But
exactly. Yeah,
people just need to go listen to songs like "Rime of the Ancient Mariner," "Hallowed Be Thy Name," "Prodigal Son," and the list goes on and on and on and on. So. Anyway, that's as serious as we'll get on this discussion. Now, Raz, go for it, mate. You got some great stuff to show from the era, and
yeah. Well, a lot of stuff. It always is, and every year we find new stuff, right? But let's go back to 92. The item that started the whole thing, everybody talked about that if you were a collector in 92. Everybody wanted this promo. Let's see. I Maiden put out this promotion box for the new album with a video, a cassette, and a CD. And there was some band pictures, and it's numbered, but I have no idea how many there are.
That is one rare piece, mate. That is one rare piece.
It's rare, but if you are into collectibles and you look at eBay, you will actually find it pretty often on eBay. So not say it's not a super rare item. It's out there, and it's you can get it if you are prepared to pay the money for it, of course. But it's a fun item, and a lot of record collectors, of course, wants this box set. There's not that many promotion boxes from Iron Maiden, so this is surely one of the pieces you want to try to find and have in your collection. Inside the box set, there was this cool piece.
Wow.
This one is signed for some reason, and in some of the box sets you are lucky to have a signed edition. I don't know if it's from the release party that they maybe signed some of the box sets. But most of them don't have the signatures on this cool.
It's a beautiful looking piece. It's a beautiful looking piece.
Very. Just recently, I got because I was not invited to the release party, so the people who were got some cool Iron Maiden invite in this cool thing, and they went to a pretty cool Iron Maiden party where they actually had turned the whole thing into some kind of circus or theme park. And you can go on YouTube and watch the promotion videos from it. It's quite cool to see lots of fun stuff happening there. But a piece they got, or some of them got at the party, was these Fear of the Dark sunglasses. Not to be compared with the ones sold in the fan club recently.
Ah.
Because the ones from the party I've only seen a few times, and at first I actually thought they were fake until I got hold of a guy who was a journalist who actually were at the party and told, yeah, some people got those glasses. Because before that I just thought they were totally fake. And you know there's a lot of fake stuff out there. So
yeah, there is.
So also a fun thing to try to find. Back in 92, 93, we didn't have Iron Maiden socks. Right now you can buy Iron Maiden socks all over the place. But Iceland actually put out pretty cool pair back then in 93. So if you see them, they're pretty rare and a fun thing. Another fun promotion item from Maiden was this candle.
Oh, the candle. Yeah.
They actually come in 2 sizes. I don't have the small one. There's a small one like this big. Pretty rare and costs a lot of money if you are lucky to find one.
Wow.
Probably because most of the people who got them just light it up and burn it. So
probably did, yeah.
A pretty cool little piece.
It's incredible that after 30 years, that candle is still wrapped up and unused.
Yeah.
And
there are some out there.
And it's incredible that those pair of socks after 30 years haven't been worn.
The fan club sold a lot of cool stuff too. Of course, they sold shirts and posters and patches and yeah, you name it. I don't know if you remember up to 88, everybody was wearing a headband.
Headbands, yes.
But it was new times, so everybody was starting to walk around with caps.
Yes.
Or the different type of scarves. Because now you wanted a bandana instead of a headband. So lots of fun stuff to collect out there. Pretty cheap, actually, when you find them, because not many collectors try to collect these. So
hands up! Who used to wear headbands at the gigs back then?
No.
Paul, no. Raz, I bet in 1988 you bought the Seven Sun headband. I bet you did.
That was the first thing I thought when I went into the venue. And when I look at pictures, I look like a total idiot. But well, I still do, so what the fuck. The fan club also sold another cool thing. I remember because when I saw that in the fan club magazine, I was like, holy fuck, that is cool. Because at that time, you had no idea how to get a backstage pass or a pass at all. It was just, if you could get a pass, you were quite lucky. So they actually put out this cool metal.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
A heavy metal pass. I thought that was just so cool. So I was running around with this. I thought that was fucking cool. And it gives access to nothing. I tried.
Yeah,
we were look.
With worse things than that. So yeah.
we were young guys, so those sorts of things meant a lot.
Of course, we have to talk about the Iron Maiden condom because it's Fear of the Dark Iron Maiden condom.
I genuinely do not remember.
It's not glow in the dark one, is it?
Sorry, Paul.
It's not a glow in the dark one, is it?
I bought 2 to open one because I was sure one of them would glow in the dark. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yeah. I believe it.
I genuinely don't remember that item. We didn't. It wasn't for sale here, so I didn't know.
Actually, this one came. There was other bands at that area who had them when Halen and Pantera, Guns N' Roses, and so yeah. But a fun thing.
It's a fun thing.
Well, what should I pick up?
I've got one thing. Now,
yeah.
I'll put a proper picture of it up when I edit it, but I have this. I have this leather pilot's jacket. Now, to hold it up, can you guys see this?
Yep.
All right. So this is called an Aramex leather pilot's jacket, and these jackets were promo jackets, and they were given to the band and the crew before the US leg of the '92 tour. And the one I'm holding up used to belong to Bill Barclay. Everyone knows Bill.
Dave, Guitar Tech, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So Bill, there's a music store here in Melbourne, and the guys are into Maiden. And in '92, when Maiden played here, I think Bill Barclay must have come to the store, and he just good friends with the owner, gave him the jacket, and now I acquired the jacket, so it sort of sits behind in my office on my office desk. It's a nice little piece. Damn heavy though. It is a heavy item. But it's a nice little piece. I've not seen many of them around.
I've only ever seen one other, and that was Yannick was wearing that at Pinewood at the Raging Hell show after.
Oh, really?
At the party, yeah. Yannick had one on,
yeah. Yeah, they mustn't have made many. I mean, as I said, the five guys in the band got one. And maybe not every crew member got one, but they're nice pieces. They're really nice pieces. So.
It's funny you say it, because in '92, when they played Denmark, he was actually at the T-shirt stand, Bill, and I recognized him. I was like, Bill, you gotta sign my program, and he was like, no way. Yeah, but I'm not famous, and he was like, yeah, but come on, but you Dave's Guitar Tech, and he was like, I'm not gonna sign anything. And then he walked off, and I was so pissed at him, like, why would you do that?
Yeah, I actually met him in 1992 at the in-store signing. I mean, for people younger generations, yes, once upon a time, Maiden actually used to come to small record stores and sign, and they did that in Melbourne the day before the gig, and I'd seen Bill Barclay from the Maiden England video during Heaven Can Wait. And at the time, I saw his face. I couldn't put a name to the face. And I went up to him and said, I've seen you. Who are you? And he said, I'm Bill Barclay. You know, that Scottish accent. So,
Scottish accent, yeah.
So, it looked quite serious. But when I saw him on the 2008 documentary, it was quite funny. Quite humorous. Yeah. What else we got?
Well, of course, some of the younger fans maybe don't have a clue, but back in the days without the internet and DVDs and all that, we had the video tapes.
Ah, yes.
That was the thing. When you wanted to see an Iron Maiden recording, you had to get one of these. But to promote their From Here to Eternity video, they actually did a quite huge promotion box.
I've never seen that before.
Those were hanging in record stores all over the world, so they're quite funny.
More of an American release, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We didn't get that in the UK. That from No.
They actually sold them in Denmark too, so probably imported. But
right, Paul, now you've got some interesting little tidbits from the gigs that you were at.
Yeah, mainly the real live tour. Yeah, '93. So that was my VIP pass for all the shows. This one was for the Wembley show only. There was an after show invite. I don't know what I've done with that. That seems to be misplaced. That's what I've got here. That's my ticket from Birmingham NEC. The Wembley one, which I really like. That's another excellent ticket.
That's a nice ticket.
And my Raising Hell Pinewood Studios pass. It was given to me on the gate by the late, great Wally Grove, who was the security guy from Maiden. That was the Saturday. Obviously, I went on the Friday rehearsal night as well, which we discussed in the last episode with Keith. But yeah, that's my memorabilia tickets and passes that I've got for '93. I don't know what I've done with my '92 Donington ticket. That seems to have been lost somewhere in the ether somewhere. I don't know.
So you can get that on
Didn't
eBay.
buy any of the Racing Hell t-shirts?
We won't go into that because by the time, because I got there sort of about 10 minutes before the band went on stage on the Saturday, and the first person I saw was Keith when I got there, and I said, "Oh, could I get a t-shirt?" And he went, "They've all gone, mate. They've all gone.
Oh.
All sold out." I was like, "Oh, cheers, great, thanks for that." But no, it wasn't Keith's fault. It was just, the demand was there. Everybody wanted a t-shirt, and that was it. You only got it at that show. So
Yeah.
no,
They did
I've seen
signs.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, all went. I've seen them on eBay, but
Crazy prices.
Yeah, ridiculous prices.
Very crazy, some of them.
Yeah, the pricing on Maiden merch, even in the last 5 years, has just gone ridiculous. Now, I don't actually know if this is the new so-called normal of Maiden, merch, but it's just insane. I mean, people are charging, £600-700, which is all over $1,000 now, for an '80s tour shirt. It's just insane. It's insane.
Yeah, but then again, I'm like, okay, makes sense. It's an '82 shirt. It's pretty old. There's not many around. But look now with the Funko Pop 80s, those small plastic toy 80s. And some of them are rare and cost like £200 now, right? And it's insane. They just came out.
Yeah.
Do you collect those, Raz?
Well, it looks like it. Like you said, I'm not going to buy that shit. Because I don't really like that Eddie looking like a baby. But if I look down my basement, they are there. So
I've got some on the way as we speak as well, waiting to be delivered. So yeah.
On the odd one out, I don't have any.
So yeah.
Raz, you were at Copenhagen '92, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cool thing was, let me just get the poster.
Yeah, go for it.
He's got his Fear of the Dark leggings on as well.
Oh wow! Now that is a poster.
Because it was not. They didn't put the normal Fear of the Dark, and they call it From Here to Eternity.
Oh wow!
Iron Maiden.
Is that
Testament as well.
So that's the Copenhagen event poster, is it?
Yes, I took it from the door at the venue.
And wow, you've done well to preserve it. That would have got, because that would have been a lot of pushing and shoving at that gig, so that would have. Or were you guys a bit more civilized than us?
No.
I love collecting stuff from shows that I've been to, and I remember on the night of the gig, driving on the just coming off the freeway, driving on one of the roads, and there was a huge billboard poster, 2-piece billboard poster, 2 lots of 40 by 60 inch billboards for my show, and I thought one day I want to own that, and I do own it, and I will put a photo up. But this was the flyer. This was the flyer for the actual show, and can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the same venue they played in 1985 on the World Slavery Tour, and they came back to this same venue as this really nice hall, 3.5, 4,000 seater, and it was insane. It was probably to this day one of the best Maiden shows I've been to, and I'll tell you why. Because don't forget, we hadn't seen them since World Slavery. It was 7 years, and concurrently the band's popularity had exponentially increased through Summer in Time era, Seventh Son, No Prayer. Even as No Prayer was quite big here, so there was a lot of pent up energy built up in the fans. So when we went to the gig, I still remember they played all those ghost sounds on the intro tape, and I remember Purple Fog, and then when Nico's drum intro to Be Quick or Be Dead came on, it was like a tsunami of people, this rush from the back of the hall, and it was basically 2 hours of trying to fight for my life, to be honest. It was one of the most intense gigs I've ever been to, ever. So, Memotai and Maiden don't take so long to tour, but mind you, the one after that was 16 years, which you were there for that 2008 tour, Raz. So, 2008 was a bit more civilized, but 92 was not civilized at all. There was a lot of bruises and, sort of sore muscles the next day, but it was good. It was a really good show. So, yeah. Let's see, what else we're going to talk about, guys?
Well, let's talk about Fear of the Dark.
Yeah.
We have the cassette tape.
I have the cassette tape, yeah. I have the cassette tape as well. I've got it right here.
But that's, as you see, it's the new print. This is the one where you got the free poster at the record store if you got the album or the cassette.
No, this is the original Australian cassette, and this was at the signing, the in-store signing that they did at the Virgin Mega. So this was at the in-store signing that they did at the Virgin Mega Store the day before the gig, and it's the only signatures I've got from that tour when we met them.
Another fun part is the US long boxes.
The long boxes. I remember the long boxes.
Also, a strange thing only for the US market. And there's so few of them out there, so a fun thing to collect also, because there's not that many around.
Raz,
it's just cardboard with the CD inside.
Raz, for the younger fans, who quite a lot of them weren't even born then, explain what a long box was.
Well, it's actually just a promotion thing for people when... Back in the days when we walked into a record store, you had the LPs, the vinyl, and it's a big cover. So when you looked around, you could already spot what bands you like and where you wanted to go in the store. But when the CD came, you could not really see it. It was just, there's a bunch of CDs over there, bunch of CDs over there. So they actually came up with putting the CDs in a big cardboard box, so it would stick up, and you could actually start recognizing your band or the music you wanted to hear around the record stores. But it was only a US thing. It never hit Europe. And it actually stopped again in the US because it's probably costed too much money to produce cardboard.
Is Fear of the Dark the only long box that we know exists?
No. We have Live After Death, Somewhere in Time, Power Slave, this one, No Perfect Dying. Yep, there are a few to collect out there. And a few different, what do we call it, editions. So, fun to dig into this if you like to collect cardboard.
But that's what we do. We collect paper, we collect cardboard, and
being a fan of cardboard, of course, you need to collect a fan. This is the promotion fan for the Japan gigs.
I have never seen that in my life. I have never seen that in my life.
No.
On the other side, it just has the Iron Maiden logo. They actually did one for the 800 tour and one more. So there are a few of them out there, but it's a fun item.
That is actually Be Quick or Be Dead is one of my favorite artworks in the entire Derek Riggs catalog. I love it. I love all of it. But we've spoken about the background behind it before, Paul. So
we have, yeah.
Won't do it
Did
again.
they do a Fear of the Dark torch as well?
Well,
we got to do is mention it, and he's got it.
They actually didn't. until
Ah,
when they went out and on the Give Me Ed
lighter. There's a lighter.
tour. Yeah, but that was on the Give Me Ed tour. But at the Give Me Ed tour, they also did a small torch saying "Fear of the Dark." Let's see, where is
The
it?
torch was Seventh Son, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was, yeah, Seventh Son. That's
that was the Maglite torch. But they did a
That's
small
what I
Fear of the
did,
Dark
mix up.
one, but it was in 2003.
Ah, right, okay.
Where was the Seventh Son torch sold?
Through the fan club.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I don't remember it. I mean, I do remember it, but I don't remember
I
Because,
remember it. Never bought it.
A lot of people still sell it as a promo thing, but it was really a fan club thing.
It was a fan
So-
club, I think it was.
But it's rare, and it's this big, so it's a fun little item. Where should we go?
You're the boss.
Oh, we can talk a little bit about when they put out the CD singles.
Yes, that's actually quite
Because-
important. That's actually pretty important.
Yeah, because it was different. They tried to change styles, because until that you always had Eddie on front of the covers, almost always. And suddenly you had, like, From Here to Eternity, it came out with different band pictures.
Mm.
Yep.
Wasting Love
That's
was
the one.
taken out from the video. We had a few with Eddie on, but this had some French message. So, and there's tons of promo CDs actually also from the US.
Yeah, the
For,
Fugitive is one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Wasting
Some-
Love, the Wasting Love CD single is quite rare, isn't it? It's.
Mm.
I've seen it on
Awesome.
Discogs and eBay go for huge prices.
Yeah, it was only released in a few countries, wasn't it? We
Yeah,
didn't get it
Holland.
in the UK.
The Netherlands, I think, is.
Netherlands and America, wasn't it?
Yeah.
and of course, you know this one.
Oh, I know that very well. I bought that the day it came out in May.
You had your own Australian edition,
Yep.
which folds up, and
Yeah.
a very cool collectible also.
Yeah.
If you
The
can-
hype
if you can
sticker.
find it.
The hype sticker. I remember it very, very well. I still remember walking to the store and it was there. It's like,
I love this hyper sticker.
hype sticker. Yeah.
They put it on stuff and we buy it. I just bought another Senjutsu box set from France because it has a stupid
Hype
sticker on
sticker.
it.
So what are we saying? We're into cardboard, we're into paper, and we're into hype stickers.
More paper stuff.
More papers.
We have of course, the tour program,
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
which is cool. And the Japanese edition,
Yeah.
if you're into collecting stuff like that.
And they're very different. The photos are very different. The
And the text.
text. Oh.
Yeah. And of course, the We Live tour.
Yeah, got that. I've got a signed version of that as well. The front cover signed.
And
Oh, nice.
Got that one.
That's a good book. That's actually a really good
That's
tool.
the Donington one. Yeah, got that.
yeah. So, a few tour programs to collect. A fun story about this one, we talked about before.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was actually looking for a T-shirt for one of my nephews on eBay, a Disney T-shirt. So I'm scanning Disney, and suddenly this pops up under Disney. Said nothing about Iron Maiden.
Oh, wow.
This is the layout for
Oh,
for the
right.
video
Yeah.
cassette. I think I paid like £2 or £3 for it.
So the layout for what video?
For the video cassette.
From here to eternity.
Ah.
Yeah.
Or from there to eternity, sorry.
From there to
Yeah.
Compilation. Yeah.
Isn't it funny?
Sometimes you just stumble over collectibles.
Exactly. In some of the times, the best finds, some of the most rarest finds, are just random. You're not even looking for it. It pops up and it's really cheap, and the person selling it ain't got a clue what they're actually selling. So,
I've had that before.
have you? What did you
Yeah.
find?
I brought two Hawaii 85 shirts.
Oh, wow.
And somewhere in New York tour shirt 87 of someone who didn't know the value of them.
Dare I ask?
Very
And
You're not going to
how much
say
did I pay? I'll tell you. For the 3 shirts, postage, everything, I paid just over £100.
That's crazy.
What? 100
Yeah.
quid?
Yeah, don't tell Rory, all right?
Well, he watches. He watches quite. He's one of
I know.
main.
But no, 2 Hawaii 85 shirts and somewhere in New York 87 event shirt. I paid £100 just over for the 3 shirts.
You could send your kids to university on those shirts, mate.
No.
So, a lot of people searching for those.
Yeah,
It's really a cool shirt also. I remember I actually saw one of the reprint they showed around 87, 88.
88.
Yeah, and I looked at it at that record store and I was like, I don't really like that Eddie. He doesn't look that cool surfing on a shark. I think I'm going to buy the Somewhere in Time shirt, and I bought the Somewhere in Time shirt. And today I'm just like...
I thought you've got the Hawaii shirt.
Well, I have one, but I don't think it's an original. I think somebody got me on that one. And that's what happens. Sometimes you take a chance.
Yeah.
And, well.
Was it from the Malaysian market by any chance?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
I mean, you can tell. I mean, Matt would tell us. I mean, is it with a tag? If it's got the tag on it, if it's got.
Yeah, because some of the original don't have a tag or the trademark. Or that's good to have a friend like Matt to ask if you see something and go, "Hey, Matt, what is this? Is this really the real deal, or is it?" And sometimes you actually think it's a bootleg, and he's like, "Oh no, it's so rare, it's the."
Yeah, his knowledge is just mind blowing. I mean, and he knows the details, the real minutia details about the shirt. So, what gives you why do you think your Hawaii 85 isn't original?
I have tons of pictures of original Hawaiian shirts, and when you go in and look how the print is compared to the shirt, it looks like it's a bit off, and I've not seen any other. So I think it's a bad, it's a good made bootleg.
It's a good fake, yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you know what though? Sometimes a few of the shirts in my collection, the print looks a bit off. It doesn't look right. I've taken it to Matt, and he goes, "No, that's how they were," or "No, they did a run and they actually some of them did come out this way." You'd be surprised. You'd be really surprised. So
you'd be surprised to know as well when Gadsby moved from London to Cornwall. He had loads of event shirts from the 80s. He gave them away to the local charity shop.
Wow. So kids are running around in these shirts. I have no idea.
Yeah, he literally said, I had no room for them, I had no purpose for them, I just gave them away to the charity shop.
Well,
it's so funny because we think that the band members and crew members have an idea that some of this stuff is there's a lot of money in it, but they really don't. Like, I bought let me get it. There was some guy working for the band called Diggy.
Yeah, you got the Fear of Dark Gold disc, didn't you? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and he had of course, he had tons of awards. And at some point,
I bought one. Yeah.
Yeah. At some point, he said, "I don't want to have all this stuff lying around," because apparently he didn't display them at his home. So he got somebody to sell them for him, but he had no idea what they were worth. So the guy who sold them actually had to say, "How much do we want to give for it?" And then he had to ask Diggy if that was okay. And Diggy never said no to any of the prices. Because
that's right.
He was like, "Oh, people want to pay money for that. Wow, okay."
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because that one that you've got and the one that I brought, the No Prayer for the Dying one, were the last two that were in the sale. And I thought, I've got to get one. And when you told me you'd got that one and I had the other one, I was pretty happy. But another bit of trivia, when those gold discs were delivered to the office for the crew, I was there with Keith the day they were delivered. The guy delivered just a massive, he came in with like a massive trolley, and it was just loaded with boxes. And I said, Keith, what are they? He said, they're the gold discs, the Fear of Dark gold discs for the crew. The band have had them all done for them as a thank you. So I was there when they were actually delivered to the Phantom, well, it wasn't Sanctuary offices. In London. Yeah.
And Keith, he's still laughing at us for buying those because he knew the price the band paid to have them made. And he said, it cost nothing because they ordered so many.
That's right.
Of course, for us collectors, it's a different thing because they're quite rare to get pieces like this. Even with a cool name for a crew or band member. Some of them have names that we have no idea who is, but it's
exactly.
Cool.
And it's also a time. I mean, you're looking at 30 years that these items were made. So, you know, they appreciate in value. I mean, this is 3 decades ago. So
going back to saying people don't realise what an item is worth. Yeah. I mentioned the green St Patrick's Day slaughter shirt, the 91 shirt to Gazzy, and he said, "Oh yeah, I think I had one of them. I think I used it to wash the car with." Oh, for God's sake, man, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable. Isn't it?
For those who don't know, the green St Patrick's Day shirt is really, really, really rare.
Yeah.
Sorry, Raz, you were going to say something.
No, it was just I was teaching math one of the days the same way. I took one really, really rare I made shirt I had from '82, and I went out and took a picture like I was polishing my motorbike with it. And then I posted it on Facebook, and he was like, "Bro, what are you doing? That shirt? Are you insane?"
Yeah, don't do that. He will have a heart attack if you show him that. Because look, for Matt and myself as well. I mean, yes, I'm wearing a vintage shirt tonight. I just fit into it, but they're pieces of artwork. They really are. For me, I don't wear any of the old ones, but A, because I can't fit into them, but B, they're just so beautiful. They're just so unique and different to the modern shirts. And luckily these days there's a lot of, you know, reprints and things like that which we can wear around. But the original shirt from 85, 86, I just, again, notwithstanding the fact that I can't fit into them, I wouldn't wear them. So what's your philosophy? You wear them, don't you, Raz? You like to wear them.
Yeah.
I don't.
The more rare it is, I love to go to a show with a super rare shirt just to see people be like, "Do you know that's a $2,000 T-shirt?" I'm like, "Yep," because it's cool and you actually get to display it. I know it's a little bit bragging, but I actually like that people have a chance to see stuff like that. Like I display in my house all my stuff, and I love people coming around and see it because hey, it's made to be seen. So,
but what if you get it dirty whilst you're wearing it, or what if you get some, I don't know, some sauce on it or tomato sauce in it, and you can't wash it out?
Well, I just call it vintage, like the band. It's come on, it has to be used, and I actually think it's more cool to see a main fan in a really worn out T-shirt from the '80s coming to a show. And like, well, he likes that fucking T-shirt, right? He wears that every week. I think that's super cool. So, yeah.
I remember seeing a photo of you. I think it was in South Africa. Book of Souls. Was it? Did you go to the Book of Souls in South Africa?
Yeah.
And I think you were wearing either the Beast Cracks the West Coast or the Beast Strikes a Network T-shirt. One of them two. And I thought, you sod. What are you wearing that for? Please don't.
But I know in my heart that Matthew, he has them all preserved, so I can run around being an idiot in my t-shirts.
Just don't have a red tomato Napoli Neapolitan pasta sauce, or if you do, put a nice bib on it. And here we are, 3 middle-aged men tonight, all in 30-year-old t-shirts. So I think it's a pretty good.
Yeah.
That's actually. Do you know what? They're nice and distressed. They actually stretch out quite well.
This one isn't. I bought this one last year in an auction. Didn't pay that much for it actually. I got it as a bargain. I think I got this for about 30 quid. This t-shirt, and
That's
I know how much it's worth. Yeah.
That shirt, I remember I bought that at the show in '92, and I was not the biggest fan of that Eddie, because it was a different time. Of course, they got rid of Dave Riggs at that time. I was really, really, really sad about that. Still are, but so I was not so happy. But it was crazy to think that many years later I actually got that Eddie head. Which
you're going to show
right there.
So that's the original.
Yeah, that's from the photo shoot.
What about? I think we discussed this, Kaz. Rasmus, you've got the original Fear of Dark artwork, haven't you? That Derek did.
Yes. Yeah. So
it's hanging in here, but it's.
So let's.
I think this back design one was Mark Wilkinson, wasn't it?
I actually got
Mark Wilkinson do this one.
I can't remember.
I'm sure it's a Mark Wilkinson. This Eddie.
Really?
The bat.
Oh, the bat. Oh, the bat. Yes,
right.
The bat.
The bat, because I've got obviously the head, but you've got.
I got the Riggs to do a certificate that it's the real deal.
So that could have been the album artwork.
Yeah. But if you read the Run for Covers, Dave Riggs' book, he tells the whole story about why it didn't become so and why he had to leave the band, and they wanted so much from him to change it from a bat to a werewolf to a vampire, and it's just kept going. At some point he said, I'm not going to do it anymore. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Werewolf. God, imagine Eddie as a werewolf. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if those drafts exist.
I think a lot of stuff exists that they never show us, and yeah, it could be exciting to go to that place with all the artworks and see them in real life. I have friends around the world who have original paintings from Dave Riggs, and when you see them in real, they're so different from the covers that came out.
Yeah, look, let's talk about the Walk on Eddie. Now, Raz, you and I, about a year and a half ago, were talking about this by message. The Walk on Eddie, how many, at the gig, I remember the Walk on Eddie was just the No Prayer for the Dying Eddie. But you told me that there was 2 different versions of that Walk on Eddie.
There was, definitely. Yeah.
To me, it just looked like the 1990 Eddie.
No, he had the branches coming out of his head. Yeah.
No. So that wasn't used in many gigs, though, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah,
because you actually can find videos on YouTube where the head breaks off and it's on the side of him. So I think, like many other walking Eddies, sometimes they break up and. Well, they have to change them.
So how many gigs did they trial that Eddie?
I don't know, but not many.
Not many.
I remember it.
Yeah, most people didn't see it, but probably they've used it on the UK tours. So.
Whereas then they substituted that for the No Prayer for the Dying Eddie, didn't they?
Yeah, I did some shows in Germany, and that was not this one, and in Denmark it was not this one.
So you got the 1990 Eddie, did you? In Denmark? Yeah, so did we. We got the 1990, 91 Eddie.
Because we were looking in the tour magazine like, what? We didn't see that Eddie. Where the fuck was that?
Yeah, it's a bit like Brave New World, wasn't it? But they had the Wicker Man Eddie originally, didn't they? Walk On.
Yeah.
And then they changed that as well.
Yeah.
So, but Paul, in Donington '92, was it the Tree Branch Eddie Walk On Eddie? Was it?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I can't bloody
You can't
remember.
remember.
I
That's
honestly
okay.
can't remember. I have to watch the video back now.
Homework. Homework. We'll
There's
go and
not
watch.
that many videos of it in use, so it cannot be
No.
many shows, I think.
But it would be on the Live at Donington video, wouldn't it?
That's what we're going to do.
One they released.
We're all going to go
Yeah.
watch that.
I can't
Sure it's
remember.
there.
I just remember the Big Eddie. I
Yeah.
can't remember the Walk On one.
A funny
tripped
story
over-
about the Big Eddie.
Yeah, go on.
When they played Mannheim in Germany, they called it Super Rock, or not Monsters of Rock. And when they played Iron Maiden, of course, the big Fifth Dark Eddie comes up, and the fingers were like this, or they were like
Yeah.
this.
They were like that, yeah.
Yeah. And then the head fell off the chain. So there was only fingers going like this on stage. That looked really, really funny.
I
I
think.
tripped over them. I tripped over them fingers backstage.
Did you?
When we come off stage doing Heaven Can Wait, and they take me around the back of the stage to get back in. And as I was running back round, I bloody tripped over one of Eddie's fingers, yeah. Because they was literally on rollers. All they did was just push these rollers up, and the fingers then went over the stage like that, and they just pulled them back down. And I went, running around the back of the stage afterwards and tripped over.
Gee.
One guy actually got the fingers without the mechanics inside after the gig and the head, and he had it in his apartment building over the elevators, and he tried to sell them on eBay, and nobody bid on them because it was pickup only, and of course it took a lot of space to have it. So I later wrote him about it, that now I had the chance to come by and actually pick it up, and he said, well, he couldn't have any space for it and he had to move, so he had to burn it. I was like, so that's no more. Really sad.
And we know that Yushimada's got the No Prayer Big Eddie.
Yeah, and Shimada actually had to move his house where he had the Big Eddie, so he actually had a friend who lives on 3rd or 4th floor in an apartment take out the whole window inside the building and have a crane transport the Eddie inside that apartment where it is now in Tokyo. It's crazy.
How on earth did he end up with that Eddie?
It was one of the fan club auctions years ago, and he brought it. He won the auction. Yeah.
No, he got transported to Japan.
And I got shipped out to Japan. I think it took quite a while to get there as well.
Over half a year, and it cost him more to ship it than to buy it.
Yeah, you're not.
So
really,
a lot of money.
Yeah, you're not going to put that in the under cargo of a 757 Boeing, are you? So.
But there's great pictures on the internet where him and his friends, they unwrap it from the boxes in the garden, and they put a small baby in Eddie's hand, and it's totally awesome.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And here I was an hour ago saying that there's not a whole lot of stuff to collect from this era, and we just keep going.
If you look down here, this is some of the T-shirt design proofs from Bravado.
Oh wow!
There's actually different layers, so you have a layer that is T-shirt, and then you can put the design on and the logo on, and look how it will.
That is brilliant.
Will end up.
That is absolutely brilliant. Awesome.
So haven't you got the amplifier? Haven't you got the amplifier from Simon Drake show?
Oh, let's see.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whose Marshall was that?
It's it's not a proper Marshall.
It's Simon Drake's special gimmick Marshall, where they took a fan from the audience and put him inside, and his arms and legs got torn off, and he moved like this. When you see the video, it looks really, really funny.
There's also one on there where they kidnap Dave off the stage with a bag on his head. And I remember on the rehearsal night, we were standing in the hall And so if you were looking at the stage in front of you, Simon Drake's was to the left. He did all his stuff to the left. And we were watching these people set up one of his magic tricks. And one of the guys was a young guy at the time, probably early, mid-20s. And I said to my friend, he's got the same tattoo on his arm in exactly the same place as Dave Murray. Didn't think anything of it. So obviously, when they've dragged Dave off the stage, playing his solo, they then substituted him for the other guy and done the trick with the other guy with the bag on his head, who you think is actually Dave Murray, but it's not, because he's standing behind the wings playing. Yeah, weird.
I remember they actually sent that show live on something called TV 1000 in the Nordic countries, so you could buy a decoder and see it like pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So I was sitting with my friends, and because we couldn't travel to the UK, so we had to sit and see it live, and it had a little delay from the original show. But it was totally awesome seeing live Iron Maiden for the first time on TV, and the show was, at that point, it was fun. Today people think it's goofy, but it's a lot of stuff was happening, and Maiden took a lot of old stage sets and put them together inside. You saw. And that was a big part of how I got the Ice figure 80s, because they were taking out from the storage from Maiden and ended up at some roadies garden who later sold them. So it was actually lucky for me that did that show.
They were at the back of the hall. So I remember when we walked in, and the stage was to a right down the end. And as you walked in, there was a big poster or something, mural on the wall, like a drape or something. And next to there was the Seventh Son Iceberg Eddies. They were all there. I think there was a picture of the guys taken next to it somewhere. There is definitely. I remember seeing it. But the delay in the broadcast was because if something went wrong with the live broadcast, they used the rehearsal night on the Friday, because that was filmed as well. So they could literally, if something broke down live, they could then switch to the rehearsal night because it was exactly the same. That's why there was a delay in the broadcast.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Raz, when did you start prolifically travelling to shows? What sort of era was it?
90 was my first travel out of Denmark.
So
on the No Prayer.
No Prayer? Yeah.
So then we started to travel to Germany, because there was not this big distance between the gigs from Denmark, so it's quite easy. And later on, of course, we had to go to the UK, and then it was easy. Sweden, Norway, and then the circle just became bigger and bigger, and at one point I was just saying, fuck it, I'm gonna travel the fucking whole world to see this awesome band, because it's not just the gig or just meeting the fans, it's the whole package. It's so awesome seeing another country, and at the same time at night go seeing an main gig, meet up with friends from all over the world. They did have a hiccup on this gig in Riga. The Trooper Eddie, when he's fighting Bruce, his backpack fell off on stage. And there's a lot of wires coming out of his back, and Steve is playing and looking at Eddie like, what the fuck is going on? That was really funny. So we were like, oh yeah, it's so fun when stuff like that happens, because that takes that show out, and it's a little more unique, right?
Well,
when
after 3 years,
Wembley 1990, with the Walk On Eddie come on stage and his arm fell off. Bruce picked it up. He just carried on. Bruce just picked it up and was like, what do I do with this? I'll just throw it back in the wings. They can sort it out. Yeah, that was the No Prayer show, yeah.
Sorry, where was that?
There's a good video on No Prayer where the head falls off Eddie, and he's running around on stage and look really alive, but that head is just on the back, and he looks so stupid. But it's really fun to see.
Where was that?
I don't know where it was, but if you go on YouTube and it's called the Bloppers of the Beast, there's like
Bloopers of the Beast.
20
Bloopers of the Beast, yeah.
20 videos of stuff going wrong for Iron Maiden.
I'll have to look at that.
And it's fun.
Yeah, I think there's not one of the one that I was on about when his arm fell off at Wembley. That was, I've never seen that on film. I just remember it happening when we were there.
Today, everything would get recorded, right? But back in the days, it was not every show where people had the gear to record.
No.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
It was so much harder back then. Today, everything is filmed.
Paul, do you want to close the show for us?
No, I'll let you do that.
You do. All right, what a great chat! What a great chat from a great era. I said at the start of the show that there, the sort of, I suppose, the diversity in collectibles wasn't all that much on this era, but boy was I wrong. And Rasmus, you proved that. So, look, it was good to reminisce again and talk about the fun stuff. And we'll catch up with you for the next show.
Yeah, cool.
Goodbye. We'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.